They also think if they do this, it's good for her in the market of marriage.
Okay.
It will get her chances.
All right.
With the other thing, they have a lot of reasons to do this, like being good with the society, like following the custom,
Yeah.
those kind of things.
Okay. Now, would you say that the practice of FGM in the few places where it's still practiced is practiced more in the rural areas than urban areas? Do we find this more in villages outside of cities? Or is FGM also practiced in mainstream downtown Cairo, for instance, or Alexandria?
Of course, it's more in the rural area, but it's also done in the big cities, around the big cities.
Okay.
For
Is it related to socioeconomics? Can you say that people of lower economic income are usually more prone?
Look, with the numbers, you will find that 85% from the poor doing. On the opposite side, about 25 of the rich people doing.
So it is correlated
with the education.
Socioeconomically, yes. Now, could you perhaps tell us a little bit about the stance of the Egyptian government on FGM and what it has done over the past few years to deal with the problem?
In fact, with the Egyptian government, we have a very good collaboration between the Egyptian NGO and NPOs and the Egyptian government. December, the last December, we had the Cairo +5 conference who declared completely a legal punishment on who doing this custom. Now it's illegal. You cannot do it even in a hospital, even in a clinic.
Yes.
So the government did a lot on this kind of activities with a real good collaboration with the NGO. From 5 years ago, it was not a crime, but now it's a real crime.
It is a crime, and that is, of course, good that it has been deemed a crime. So now FGM, since it cannot take place in official hospitals, is probably done under the table and illegally.
Yes.
Yes. And the Cairo +5, which you just talked about, the conference that, of course, deemed FGM as being illegal and that it should be stopped. Could you tell us more about this conference and what it has done?
The declaration of this conference intends on the responsibility of the parents, the responsibility of the health provider who is doing this, the responsibility of the anesthesia man who is doing this at the same time. We put a real responsibilities on this, and we didn't just, they will pay money for the government, no, they will go to jail. So it's a crime with real legal corners.
Okay, yeah. Now, another thing is, of course, the United Nations has been very outspoken about FGM. What is their stance?
The United Nations supports us with logic support, they put funds for the NGOs. They help us in the materials and studies and researches, but at the same time, our government here, you can imagine that they put a short number for this. Any girl now, she can dial that number if she can be exposed to FGM, they will help her.
Okay, so there's a hotline that girls or women can dial for either advice on any matter related to female genital mutilation. Perhaps you can tell us that number.
16000.
That is, ladies and gentlemen, 1600 for you to know. This is the hotline that you can dial if you have any questions related to female genital mutilation, and they will be there to assist you in any case. Now, is there a religious link between FGM and any religion? Could you say that there is a religious link? Because some people say that this is a religious practice. Is it a religious practice?
No, completely no, absolutely no. There is a lot of studies done by other men, and they proved completely there is no link religiously with that custom completely. And my proof is the other countries around us, like Saudi Arabia, has no problem with the FGM. So it's completely African custom.
Okay. Well, that is, of course, a good addition. Now, let's talk a little bit about the campaigning and the process of raising awareness on the risks of FGM. Could you tell us what these campaigns consist of and how you go out and tell people who are, of course, in a bubble, if you will, in a bubble that they believe that FGM is a correct practice? How do you pierce this bubble and tell them the reality of the risks involved?
In fact, we use everything. We use the normal communication. We use the phone communication. We use the internet communication. We use man-to-man speaking. We go to the villages. We talk to the female, the normal, ordinary female. We explain everything, then even by presentation, to show them. We answered their questions clearly. And we start to make them not to be shy in asking, and we declare the link between their troubles, like infertility, like female sexual dysfunction, like addiction of the male for the drugs, with that bad habit. We use everywhere. We once used the Facebook to make a group called Save Her in our organization, to make the people our reporter. To report us about the accident happened with it, so she can follow us, because if you know this victims needs help, needs medical help, after this needs psychological help.
And what is the response? I mean, you go out to these villages and you talk to people living in these villages. How do they react when you come in and you give them this presentation on the realities of female genital mutilation? What is their response, and how do their husbands respond? Do they respond positively and welcome the knowledge that you give them, or are they skeptical and say, you know, we're not sure about that, this is what we are used to, this is our custom, no matter how wrong it is, it seems right to us? Is that the response, or how would you describe it?
Well, it differs. It differs for a lot of factors. If you go a very far place, you will find no response. If you go for the first time, it differs than the second or the third time. They need a lot of coming, a lot of speaking, they need a lot of visits. So the response is completely different from a place to place, time to time. It differs if you are supported by presentation or not. It differs even if you give them presents, if you give them booklets. If it needs a lot of intensive care of them. And the first, they start to look at you as you are talking very strangely. You are talking about something they used to do it. Why we stop it? We have no problem. Unless the end of the conversation, you show them the link between their problem and their custom, they start to believe little by little. It needs a lot of effort.
Okay. So the response definitely is positive in the long run. If you look back over the, let's say, 10 years or so, how much progress has been made in combating FGM, which has, of course,